All right, it's Monday, June 30th, 2025, and we've got a ton of weather to talk about today, so let's dive right into it. Our top story today is the dangerous and potentially record-breaking heat wave that we're going to have slam the Southwest. That's right, today we're talking about the Southwest rather than the Southeast in the eastern portions of the United States. We're having a little bit of a break from the heat in the east, but man, it's going to be pretty wild over here near Phoenix, up towards Las Vegas, where we do have extreme heat warnings in place. The most intense heat is going to be focused around the lower deserts, but even in downtown Phoenix, it's going to get really, really hot. We're talking about 115, maybe 117 degrees in some of these areas. That's going to be potentially record breaking because we actually have a record today, I believe, of 115. If we do get to 117 around Phoenix, that's going to break the record. So it's supposed to be hot in Phoenix this time of year, I know, but this is actually kind of plumb wild. So what in the world is causing all this heat in the West? Well, it's the same thing that was causing heat in the East earlier. It's a ridge. We've got this highly amplified pattern, right, where we've got high pressure ridge setting up underneath this big buckle in the jet stream, and that's allowing for heat to compile down here, especially in the desert Southwest, and the impacts are going to be severe. Once again, 117 degrees in Phoenix, that's going to be pretty significant, so you've got to be prepared for this if you live out here. It's going to be a multi-day event, but the peak of it's pretty much going to be today and tomorrow, especially down there between Las Vegas and Phoenix, and we're going to have that situation where it's not going to cool down much at night, okay? So it's going to still be potentially above 90, 100 degrees in a lot of these areas, even after the sun goes down. So there's going to be no escaping the heat, really. What I'm watching most closely here is going to be the heat risk in places like the Columbia River Gorge and downtown Phoenix. This isn't just about daytime highs, and it's not just today, but it will start moderating a little bit after the midweek. So like Thursday, Friday, things are going to start to cool down a little bit, but it's still going to be above average. So just keep that in mind as you go outdoors. It's going to be really, really hot in the Southwest, of course, but hotter than usual. On top of that, we've got a massive severe weather threat set up today with over 86 million people under the gun for maybe some small hail and gusty winds out there. This is a marginal risk, okay? So it's just a 1 out of 5. We're not expecting a severe weather outbreak or anything, but we are expecting lots of people to be under severe warnings and stuff like that. So get ready for that in places like the Mid-Atlantic, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, all the way back down towards Oklahoma City and Little Rock later in the evening. The storms are going to fire up this afternoon and continue into the evening all across the marginal risk area, but we also have a separate, more concentrated threat for flash flooding in the central and southern plains, particularly across Oklahoma and western Texas into New Mexico. Notice how we've got these storms that are kind of very slow moving that are forming along a boundary here tonight. Those are going to be packed full of moisture, and they're going to be training. And training just means that the same intensity storms are going to be moving over the same areas over and over again, and the atmosphere is absolutely loaded with fuel. Okay, we've got rich low-level moisture out here, dew points in the 70s, approaching the 80s in some areas, and we're also going to have convective available potential energy levels or thunderstorm fuel exceeding 4,000 joules per kilogram, which, to put that simply, it just means that things are going to be really favorable for storms out there tonight. Look at 72, 74, 75 degree dew point out here. It's going to get pretty stormy very quickly. And if we take a look at the precipitable water values, they're all very high. Essentially, where you see those reds and yellows, that's where we've got enough atmospheric moisture to produce those downpours that lead to flash flooding. And we're definitely going to be seeing that tonight in portions of Oklahoma and Arkansas. Also, notice how we see pockets of these deeper moisture levels up into the Ohio Valley, through the Midwest, over into the Mid-Atlantic regions as well. And what that means, at least today, is less concerning on the flooding side and more concerning potentially with downbursts and damaging winds. So anytime you get a storm that pops up that can take advantage of this really, really intense moisture and it kind of dumps it all in the same spot in a microburst or a downburst, that can lead to damaging winds on the surface. The heavier the cloud is, think of it that way, the more winds there could be. And we're going to continue to be in this pattern as we go into tomorrow, where we've got another severe weather risk up here from Maine all the way down to South Carolina, with an emphasis on the I-95 corridor between Washington, D.C. and New York City. 23 million people there are under that slight risk alone, okay? And we're about to dive much deeper into that, I promise. But first, let's shout out today's awesome sponsor. WeatherWise, super resolution real-time radar. Now, there's a bunch of good radar apps out there, but this one is just as good as, if not better than, the best one. And guess what? It's free. You get super res and fast weather radar for 11 countries. We're talking storm tracks, we're talking lightning data, reflectivity, velocity, correlation coefficient, real-time, very fast warnings from the National Weather Service. You can look at SPC outlooks, and once again, it's free. You can get it on iOS or Android, and you can even load it up on your browser right now, weatherwise.app. There is a paid version of the app. Inside the app, you can get a plus subscription. We're talking about 3D globe projections, 3D radar. We can do split view with the radar, so we can look at reflectivity and velocity at the same time. And probably my favorite part about the plus subscription is y'all mode. So if you've watched our live streams before and you really like the way my map looks, you can just click a button and your radar now looks exactly like mine, which actually makes it a lot easier to follow along if you're watching one of our live streams. So once again, weatherwise.app in your browser, or just click the link down in the description. Thank you all for going over there and supporting the app. There's already hundreds of thousands of people who absolutely love it. And if you haven't tried it yet, I think you're going to love it too. Link in the description. Let us know what you think about it. And now let's get back into the video. The timing for tomorrow's storms is critical. The main window for these dangerous storms is going to be Tuesday afternoon and evening, right during the evening commute for millions of people out here. And once again, even tomorrow, we're going to have these really deep precipitable water values that are honestly pretty abnormal for this part of the country. And any storm that pops up here is going to be capable of producing damaging winds as a result of this. But also the flooding concerns start popping up over here tomorrow, because it looks to me like storms are going to start training over here as well. And another really good, kind of example of what training is just watch Baltimore, Washington, D.C. If this actually happens tomorrow, we get a storm at 1 p.m., we get another one at 4 p.m., we get another one at 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., it's still storming. We got another final round that comes through between 10 and 12 a.m. Each storm has the potential to drop an inch of rain, right? So what was that, 6 or 7 there? If you actually just got 3 to 4 inches of rain in a short period of time, you would have flash flooding. If you got 5 or 6, now we're talking about some pretty dangerous stuff. So training storms are going to be possible tomorrow. And on top of the training effect, we have this deep, intense moisture associated with those storms as well. So flooding is a big problem. It's a big concern. And that's why it's my biggest concern for tomorrow's setup. And that's why we have a slight risk for excessive rainfall from the Weather Prediction Center out here. Okay, flipping over to the tropics really quick. We had Tropical Storm Barry make landfall in Mexico earlier, and we've got a lemon over here around Florida where we are watching for the potential for some development in a tropical sense over here in the Gulf of Mexico, moving over into the Atlantic, south and east of Georgia. Very, very low chance of anything substantial coming out of this, but just wanted to show you the tropical map here because it is interesting that we've got a disturbance officially from the National Hurricane Center, and you can kind of see several swirling areas over here around Florida. All of this is associated with the energy may or may not become some sort of tropical system over the next 7 days. There's only a 20% chance that it would actually happen. And once again, it's just very, very unlikely. I mean, just watch that area on the GFS. You can see that there's some broad rotation there, but it just very quickly gets absorbed into the jet stream and taken away. Now, something a little bit more interesting is Hurricane Flossie. Okay, right now we've got Tropical Storm Flossie down here south and west of Mexico. That's likely going to become a hurricane at least by Wednesday, and then that's going to continue to parallel the Mexico coast. And then another area is going to become quite strong, potentially a major hurricane over here next week, and we'll be keeping an eye on that. So things are definitely active in the tropics right now, but specifically for the Gulf and for the Atlantic, I don't see anything to be too concerned about in the near future. The main thing with that tropical system over here around Florida is that whether or not it gets a name, whether or not it becomes an actual depression, it is going to keep storms kind of hanging around Florida for an extended period of time, leading to several days of isolated pockets of severe weather and flash flooding. Okay, we do have a 2 out of 4 risk for excessive rainfall over here from Tampa up to Gainesville on Friday, and Saturday is also going to be quite rainy. There's a pretty good chance that we're going to see widespread 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. A few places in here are going to see 3 to 6 inches, maybe even more in a short period of time. That's going to lead to flooding. Once again, whether or not we have a tropical storm or a tropical depression, the tropical rains are going to be felt in Florida. Now, looking ahead, the heat wave in the west is going to kind of expand expand farther and just kind of cover the whole country over the next 14 days. Specifically, the 8 to 14 day outlook is a sea of red, indicating a high probability of above normal temperatures across the entire lower 48. This is not a short-term event. This is a nationwide heat wave that's going to build and amplify starting around July 4th, and it's going to continue to persist for an extended period of time. We are going to continue to talk about serious heat here in all the places highlighted. We're going to have several places exceeding 100 degrees, especially in Texas and Oklahoma over into Louisiana, with heat indices getting over 110 degrees. So get ready for the heat, y'all. It's going to be one of those years where it's just hot all the time. And that's all the weather talk I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. We are not on standby mode today, but we're going to try to go live if we need to. Right now, it doesn't look like we really are going to need to, but we're watching all these storms as they pop up. And if any surprises happen, we will be here for you. So subscribe, turn notifications on, slap that like button, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.